Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. You're here for our news and discussion this show this week, and my name's Basil. I'm here with Mabbsy.
All right, how's everyone?
How are you doing, Mabbsy?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Just missing 2 weeks to go to the season, and who knows? I've come on to that as well, actually, about what's happening over tickets and stuff and aways this year.
You're really excited, aren't you, Mabbsy? It's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope we can actually be all back, because there's now doubt whether that's going to happen. I don't know. No news, nothing as yet, and I think we'll go on to that later.
Yeah, I think we'll come back to it, and I think we'll start off with talking about what's happened in USA. Basically, I mean, what did you make of the whole tour? Obviously, they're all back now in Liverpool and off at the weekend, obviously, and they'll be back in training tomorrow. How did you think the tour went?
I think it went very good. I mean, as I say, it was disappointing that Arsenal and the Inter pulled out. But, I think probably, they've been over there. They've got experience with some of the youngsters. It can only be good news, surely. And then obviously now we've got everyone returning back from the Euro. So we'll have a full squad against United, touch wood. And most importantly, no real injuries of any note as well.
Yeah, it looks like we managed to escape injuries. Hopefully, we did. Did you manage to catch any of the Pumas game?
Honestly, no. I was on a 5 o'clock start and work, so I couldn't make it. I couldn't watch it. I just have not had time to catch up on it, unfortunately.
Well, everyone who's watching, I know there's quite a few of you who started coming in and watching. We're just talking briefly about the tour and the Pumas game. If you've got any comments on how you thought it went and things we can improve next season for preseason, I'd be interested to hear. But I did watch the Pumas game. I'll have to admit I fell asleep once again in the second half, but I have watched it back since to see sort of what happened. And from my perspective, what I saw was a lot of passing around the back, not a lot of movement. Obviously, that's a friendly for you, isn't it? It was just a bit kind of passive.
It's going to be cagey. I think we've never faced them before or anything like that. So you don't know how they're playing. It is what it is. Don't think there's much really. I mean, good and made up. Moise Keane got a goal. Didn't know what was goal like.
Well, it was a through ball by Demarai Gray. Actually, it was quite a good little move. He runs in 1-on-1 on the keeper, tries to hit it low, just past the keeper, and I think the keeper got a touch on it, or it went through, bobbled in, and then he got the rebound. He tapped in the rebound. I mean, a goal's a goal, isn't it? I would have liked to have seen him just sort of curve it, bury it in, but the goal's a goal, and
it is what it is. It's a win, and hopefully, he can. If he doesn't looks like he's going to Paris, and he's hopefully can be happy at Everton and bang them in for us alongside Calvi.
Yeah, the interesting thing when you play a team like Pumas, we've never really played before, and you don't know anything about them. They didn't seem quite as strong as I expected them to be, and quite up to the level of sort of fitness. I think they're halfway through the season, but they didn't really give us much of a test. This is something we're definitely going to get more of a test on Sunday when we go up against Man United at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
It's quite an unusual fixture, isn't it?
I really don't get it. I got it a few seasons ago when obviously it was really testimonial, but I just find it really odd that we're playing a full capacity, nearly full capacity at Old Trafford, 70,000. And I heard there's a load of Blues in the away end. There's loads of Blues going to be in the home end as well, which is going to be good. So to cheer the lads on, and obviously we showed out the allocation we've been given. I just it's really odd pre-season. I don't get it. It's good test maybe, but I just think just odd that we're playing them like a week before the start of the season.
Yeah, I can only really put it down to when they were planning out pre-season, they were thinking, what can we do? Can we travel? And, let's get this game in that's sort of very local. And
Yeah.
It probably won't be cancelled unless either team had a COVID outbreak. And I saw that Man U's last game against Preston was called off.
Very could well be. This could be another problem, but hopefully they've got a big enough squad to face us, because they have said that no other game's going to be cancelled. But you don't know, do you?
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm wrong, but yeah, it is a little bit concerning that.
It's going to be a strong test, isn't it? I mean, they've brought in Jadon Sancho. There's talks they're going to bring in Rafael Varane. So it looks like they're really strengthening up the side, and they already had a strong team. So we're going to have a test, which is going to be good for us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know why this feels odd. I don't know, because usually we usually have one home game of the pre-assembly season at Goodison, to get us all wanting more. But again, yeah, it's just weird. I mean, it's going to be great. A stadium full of fans, a lot of Blues going to be there. So it's only positive, I guess.
Jeff says, hi Jeff. Watching
hi, Jeff.
On Facebook. Keep the comments coming in. Let us know how you think about things, Jeff. I think it's interesting that point you raise about it. We're not having a home game, because maybe we're just saving up, all the fans, all that energy for the Southampton game. I mean, we're only 2 weeks now. I was thinking about it today, and we are really close now. It's very exciting to finally be getting back to Goodison.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and everyone's been bloody posting on bloody Facebook that the season tickets come. Mine still hasn't come. As yours?
No. I was going to raise that point.
Maybe it was in the park end.
I'm interested to know how many people actually took the option of the cards. I mean,
I think quite a lot, to be honest, because I see everyone's on Facebook and now has got the card.
Yeah, Jeff's got his card.
Yeah, look at you, Jeff. I know you're seeing yours. Yeah, don't rub it in. It's just ridiculous. Every single year, mine seems to arrive last. It always does, and it really pisses me off. Yeah, you got the card, Jeff. Yeah,
maybe it's Park End.
maybe you're right. I know Jeff sits in the main stand, so I don't know.
We'll get it. Or otherwise, I'm sure you'll be onto them. I'm sure you'll find a way.
I'll be on the Editor Fan Services on Tuesday. If it's not it, I guarantee I will be onto them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's an exciting thing. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. I mean, what we want to do personally, I want to see
Saturday, isn't it?
Saturday. It might be Saturday. I want to
Saturday because
I want to see our players, the ones who Benitez is thinking is going to play against Southampton. I want to see them play for more than 45 minutes now. Yeah. I think it's, they've got to get some more minutes under their belt. Only Dean and Keane got sort of 70 minutes on Wednesday. So it looks like they'll be having a few sort of practice matches between themselves over this week. I mean, what do you make of that? Rather than getting a match in against another team, they've opted to play against each other and work on tactical things. Do you think that's important? Because Benitez,
of course, it is
early days.
They need to gel, and I think obviously we've got the new guys now, or not the new guys, the guys from the Euros coming back. So we've got Pickford, you've got Richarlison's still away, isn't he? Until because he's at the Olympics. But you've got DCL coming back, and then you got Mina coming. Is Mina back yet, or is it?
I'm guessing he'll be back with DCL and Pickford. Yeah. You would imagine it was about the same time.
Yeah. So hopefully then we'll be up to kind of full strength minus Richarlison, because obviously he decided he wants to play at the Olympics. And again, in a way, it's good because at least Richarlison's get a competitive match experience. So he's, you know what I mean? So, you can't.
Well, I mean, he is going to need a break when he gets back. The positive is he's scoring or he's assisting. I heard he assisted the winning goal. I think it was yesterday. So they're into the semi-final. So, yeah. I mean, the longer he goes through, the more confidence he's going to get. And I think ultimately for his mental side of the game, maybe he needs to win that tournament. That's more important than coming back a week early and having got knocked out.
No, totally. Absolutely. And hopefully it'll come back with some confidence. And I do hope he stays. Again, that's all up in the air. Who knows? Hopefully we can get replacements in, whatever. But
I think this is a comment from Ryan, who's usually on the show. He can't make it tonight. He's saying need the card unless you can pass the ticket on. Yeah, to pass the ticket on.
But are you going to be able to? Because they're saying they're going to do ID checks, and again, how are they going to do ID checks when you've got, like, let's face it, 10,000 fans 5 minutes before kickoff, all wanting to get to the ground? Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, I spoke to Ryan the other day, and he said that he'd contacted the box office about how that was going to work, and apparently for the next sort of few weeks, you're going to be able to give your card to somebody else, but they're going to enforce at some point, some way that they can see who's coming in. But I think Ryan did suggest to me that they're going to allow you to, like, nominate a family or friends member, so that they can someone designated to take the ticket, so you can't just give it away randomly.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, as I say, I've got no issues against that, because I think the shite you can do that, and I think that was the whole point of their e-ticketing. But if you can nominate someone else, that's fair enough, because obviously people have work commitments and stuff like that, and I agree with that. That's fine. They've got no issues with that if that comes in, which you should do.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. They moved the fixtures around so much that they can't expect people to be able to make all the games. And I mean, especially when nobody could go to the game in lockdown, and the fixtures were all over the place. If you were in work, you couldn't even watch them online because you're working.
5 o'clock kickoffs, like, what was that about? You know what I mean? Like, last season, ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's on a Monday. Monday, was it? On Mondays?
Yeah.
It's like, well, not everyone bloody work. Not everyone works from home, has the luxury of doing that. Not everyone has the luxury of being able to watch it in work or working from home. It needs to go back to the way it used to be. But hopefully, what we all know, there's going to be fixture changes throughout the season, and that happens. So that can be a good thing if you can nominate someone. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. We've got a comment here from Jeff. He's saying Rafa wasn't his choice like most of us, but he's impressed with what he said. I think he means seen, and I am behind him 100%.
Absolutely, Jeff.
That's
and
great.
I think I've always said I love Everton more than I hate Rafa. So, of course I'm going to get behind him, and I just hope that he can get the results and prove some people wrong. Hopefully he'll piss off the cop-outs as well by doing it, by us winning.
We've got to give him a chance. He's through the door. He's showing that he can sort of shake things up. He's changing the way training has been. He's talking about today, I think I was reading, he's talking about the way he's going to sort of influence Everton in the next few months, targeting players on a one-on-one basis as much as he can to improve them individually, and then sort of lead that into the whole collective. So, it sounds like he knows what he's doing.
Exactly, yeah.
And we hope that things go well. One thing that is coming into question is Hamez's relationship with Benitez, and obviously it's been questioned since he came in. There are reports speculating that Benitez has told Hamez he's pretty much surplus to requirements. If there's an offer that comes in, he will be allowed to go. What do you make of all these rumors? And I'm sure you would have seen about Hamez's Twitch. He pretty much said he wanted to feel wanted.
You know what? I'm sick of needy players. I'm sick of them. They're on 100 grand plus a week, right? And then there's like, I want to feel wanted. Fucking grow a pair, right? At the end of the day, you're all mercenaries, and he's a bloody sick note. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm behind Rafa and getting rid of them. Everyone's saying, well, why he's a liability. Let's be honest. He's a good footballer, absolutely. There's no disputing that. But when he's fit, and to me, I still haven't forgiven him for the war, for actually, the disrespect that he has shown us, all of us, by deciding to fuck off to Colombia 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before the season even finished, or 2 games before at least. And it sums up. He sums up his level, when he's not fit to play for Colombia, doesn't it? What does that tell you? When Colombia don't even want him to play. It's like, well, so you know what? I think I'm behind Rafa on this. There's a lot of fans obviously angry, but why? At the end of the day, the amount of disrespect that he's shown us, give him the boot. I'd happily let him go. I'd drive him to his new club.
Yeah, I find it really difficult though, because we're looking at our most gifted player in the team, someone who obviously has been really quite injury prone last season. He played 26 games in all comps. He had 6 goals and 9 assists. So if you put that into perspective alongside basically the whole squad, that's kind of come third, isn't it, behind well, even second maybe, because Richarlison was quite poor on his output. I mean, to take that out of our team now, we're going to have to replace it in some way, aren't we?
But when you can't get a great game for Colombia, and you've got the quality of Rodriguez, there's something up. Is there not?
There's definitely something up
Do
with
you
it.
not find that weird?
Sorry, there's a little connection lag. I hope I'm not talking over you. There's definitely something going on with him, isn't there, with his injuries that we don't know and we haven't known for the time he's been here.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, don't get me wrong, if he stays, then I'll fully support him. But I'm not desperate to keep him, to be honest. And I think the disrespect that he's been injured or something, I just think he couldn't even be arsed staying around to wave at the little kids. He couldn't, he might not being fit, but he could have come on the pitch at full time. But no, he was packing his bags, ready to put his private jet at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So
no, it's not good publicity, is it?
No, of course not.
Ray said, support the team no matter who the manager in it. Yeah.
Absolutely, Roy. Correct.
Yeah. And the same if Hamez leaves, we support the team. We will always move on. The players and the manager are never bigger than the club itself.
Not at all. At the end of the day, players come and go, managers come and go. Everton remains a constant, and we remain the constant. Us fans, us the custodians of the club.
I mean, if I was manager, I'd be wanting to sort of put him in his place and say to him, look, you're in my plans. Personally, I would have him in the plans because of how valuable he can be if he's fully fit. But I would accept that he's probably not going to be fit half the season, and you're going to have to find other ways of playing most of the time. You just use him sparingly.
But if this reports on FFP are to be believed, right? And I don't know what the case is. I don't know if it's paper talk. I don't know. But if that's the case, we can't afford a luxury of half a season playing 50% of the games. We need someone who's going to be there to. Again, I'm not going to say 100% because you do get slight knocks and stuff like that. But at least 80% of the time. And is he not a luxury that we don't need and we don't need? I don't know.
Well, I see him as a luxury that we do need, but I'm not in the board. I don't know the inner workings of how bad we are. I mean, from the outside in, it does look bad at the moment because we're signing players. I'm not saying these are bad players. I mean, they're adding depth to the squad, but we're signing players on a free or for 1.5 million, and we're letting players that we've been pretty much targeting for half a season go off to Aston Villa in the shape of Bailey. So
exactly.
It's really concerning at the moment. What's the situation behind the scenes?
And then we've got rid of Benny Beningame as well, haven't we? So that's a bit of an odd one. I don't know.
Would you think he was ever going to kind of break in? He'd had his moment.
He was on the periphery, wasn't he? So I don't know, but I wish the lad good luck at Hearts. To be honest with you, nothing but the best to him.
Mark's saying, do we really want a player that decided near the end of the season to stop playing for us so he stayed fit for Colombia, even though he wasn't picked?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, again, this is what I've been saying. At the end of the day, he's too much of a liability, too much of a luxury, too much of this big-time Charlie that we just don't need. We don't need. We need players that have got... Obviously, footballers have got an ego, but we need a footballer with less of an ego. And again, just that, as Mark just said, down tools. He did down tools at the end of the season. As I say, he fucked off to a week before the end of the season. Wasn't even there to support his teammates at Man City. Wasn't going to see the crowd that It's
not a good
ridiculous.
message. It's not a good message to send out. And if you look at it in the way it kind of panned out, and then you've got the other mercenary, the other snide who then jumped ship just after. It's almost like they just kind of thought, well, nothing's happening here. I've seen the whole year what we're like. I know what Everton's like now. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's the way we read it, but
we just
can't afford that.
We don't need big time Charlies or luxury players that think they're bigger than the club. No one's bigger than the club at all. No one, not even Rafa Benitez. Well, obviously, especially not Rafa Benitez, but no one is bigger than Everton Football Club. And I don't like it when they take the piss. I'm sorry, but nah, not for me. I mean, I'll probably get loads of stick for it, but that's my opinion.
No, I think a lot of people will agree that what you're saying about him stopping playing and the attitude that shows is completely disrespectful to the club, and a lot of people will say no. But then if he plays and he scores in the first few games of the season, it'll all just be wiped under the carpet for a bit. So, it's just how you see it at the time.
Yeah.
Should we move on to talking a bit about transfers? And I'll start off by kind of saying, if Hamez does go, which it looks like it might happen, and the other name player we're not going to name is it doesn't seem to be connected with the club at the moment due to obvious reasons. There's a bit of a gaping hole in the squad for the cam position. Do you think we will need to buy a cam, or do you think the options in the squad will be able to adapt to it when we want to play with the cam in a formation?
We haven't been adapting, to be fair, have we? So I don't know. But again, pre-season we've managed without that said 31-year-old, which is not going to be mentioned. Obviously not Fabian Delph, by the way, but made that very clear. But as I say, yeah, it is what it is, and I think hopefully the situation can be resolved. And but I still don't think if it does get resolved, he'll ever play for Everton again.
Yeah, it looks like, and I think a lot of the fans will pretty much be kind of not happy, but kind of like secretly happy that he's not going to probably play for us again, because they would have wanted him out anyway. So yeah, but we're going to lose those two players possibly, and it looks like Iwobi, it looks like Damari Gray might play in that position. There's players who can fulfill the role. We might move to a 4-4-2. We just don't know how Benitez sees the squad dynamic.
Yeah, and as I say, that's why he's paid the money to do what he does. But again, I still think we need Dumfries. I mean, is that, as I say, no one knows. I think there was a comment saying that that's on hold because of FFP, which is a fucking ridiculous. How can this season can we not? I thought it'd be technically scrapped after the Man City case anyway, but especially after COVID, you can't go on last year's revenue because it obviously going to be down. I mean, there was no fans in the stadium, so of course the books are going to be down. It's a joke to be enforcing it. And as I say, you know what? Man City breached it, and what was their first offence? A fine of like 20 grand or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it seems to be there's more than that going on, because I don't understand why we wouldn't just kind of break the rules a little bit. It's not really breaking the rules. Man City have kind of done it for years, and they're looking at buying Harry Kane and Grealish for like 200 million.
Yeah, exactly. So they've already already spent 100 million on one player, and then they're trying to get Grealish. I'm not too sure. City bought someone already.
I'm not sure they've spent that much money yet, but they're targeting Grealish and Kane from what I've read, which is going to be like 250 million. That's
phenomenal, isn't it? It's absolutely
that's buying the title. So why isn't that breaking regulation?
Yeah. But then we can't buy a single player. We can't buy one player. It's a joke. It's to keep clubs down. This FFP. Would you play Gray as a 10 looking shot? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's what Dave just touched on there. Yeah. So I think that's what we've kind of said.
I think he could play it, and if you look at the way he provided the assist against Pumas, it was from that central area, feeding a ball through. He's obviously got a bit of intelligence to play that sort of ball. he's direct. He kind of reminds me a bit like Sterling at Man City. You know what I saw from Sterling for England, like very direct, gonna run at players, and we need a bit of that in the team. I'm sure he'll develop. So it's quite possible he could play in the 10, but I think it's more likely that he would play on the left of a 4-4-2 with Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin up front. And Townsend on the right at the moment, it looks like, or Iwobi or someone like that. It doesn't read very healthily to me, but I think that's why we need to find a way to spend some money. And it looks like the only way to do that is going to be to offload the important players that aren't crucial, like your Hamez, your Mina, someone who's worth a bit of money.
He's on decent wages.
Get wages off the books.
Is it a case of wages, or is it? I still don't get this. So, are we saying that because we bought a lot of crap and we've got a lot of wage bills still to? Is that what it is, or I don't think we cannot afford the players. I think it's the wage bill. Is that I might be mistaken on that.
I'm not sure. I think you know more on this financial fair play situation than I've kind of read into, but
yeah,
I think it's a combination of everything, isn't it? Because wages and the cost of the player is taken over a series of years over the course of the contract. If they're contracted to 5 years, the price kind of gets split down into each year, doesn't it? Financially,
I'm got a clue. I don't know
how it works. So it's a difficult one. We just don't have the information, do we? But what I will agree with is we need Dumfries or a similar style of right back, and that's the gaping hole in the team right now. I think we will struggle to kind of move forward without that other right back option. What I've read is Dumfries has asked to go back to PSV Eindhoven and train alone. So he wants to keep fit, but he kind of knows he wants to go.
Yeah.
But nobody's offered. Reports are saying nobody's offered the amount that they're looking for, which is no surprise really, because we've let Bailey. Looks like he's on his way to Aston Villa for 30 million. So
but when you get 100 million, they're laughing, aren't they? To be honest, they still got 60 million. Like, tell you what, 70 million just to play with. We're lucky Aston Villa.
Yeah. Will says right back is our most important position to sign this summer. It definitely is now. We've temporarily addressed the wingers issue enough to need the right back more now. It's imperative because Coleman's not going to play every game. He can play well and he will play 10, 15 games well, but the rest of the games, who's going to play? This is it.
Well, no, I don't. As I say, I think you do need an experienced right back, and during the Euros, Dumfries was just phenomenal. Let's not kid ourselves. I think he's a great player, but yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Hopefully, we can get it across over the line.
I mean, another thing I can put it down to possibly is the stadium. Is the stadium having an impact on us financially?
It can't be though, because the stadium is a separate entity and you don't have an FFP limit on that. So you don't. It's separate. It's ring fenced. Apparently, right. It's always been ring fenced, like infrastructure, like your training grounds, like your ground. So that's not having a bearing unless they're saying we're limited in our budget. But again, those rumours that we had 50 million to spend, so plus whatever we get. So, and I don't think Rafa would have come. So he's getting paid 15 million or something. Is that right? So we're hardly skint. That's what I've heard. So we can't be skint, can we?
I don't think we're skint. I mean, we know Mashiri's got a lot of money. We know Usmanov's got like 10 times that amount as well, and he's drip feeding in at the same time. So the money is there. It's obviously the way it's structured. It's weird.
Can't you just sponsor our team bus or something and give us 100 million so we get around FFP or something? I don't know.
USM team bus.
Yeah, mobile phone team bus.
Just as you said, I just can't see Rafa coming in without the promise of a decent chunk of money to spend.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why did the snake Ancelotti go? Was that because he knew he wasn't going to get anything to spend?
I just think he wasn't up to the job. Simply, I think he wanted an easy time, but I don't think he's going to get it at Real, to be honest. But
no,
but he
hopefully they
just
don't.
no.
As long as they beat Liverpool and knock them out the Champions League, then
I imagine, yeah, Agent Carlo, then weren't it?
Another player we've been linked with, I've been reading today, is Matthew Hobbs. Is it Hope? Matthew Hope. He's a USA international. He's playing in the Gold Cup at the moment. He's quite highly rated young player who's 6'3". He's been linked with Everton and Arsenal. He's a striker.
How much we're looking at him? I've not heard that, so that's news to me.
I haven't seen any prices. I don't think it's just a rumor at this stage. But what's interesting when we do look at these transfers is what positions we are constantly getting linked with, and it tends to be striker, winger, and Dumfries. So, does that show we're not happy with the forward options, obviously, that we've got, and maybe we can survive defensively for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's tough, isn't it? Because we technically now have 3 strikers, Moise Kean being back, but you just don't know what Moise Kean you're going to get, because you don't know where he's going to spit his dummy out because he hasn't got what he wanted to go to PSG. But at the end of the day, it's just what fucks me off is they think these teams can come in and say, we'll just keep loaning you and loan our best players. Like, well, no, at the end of the day, you've got the money. Some cough up if you want them. Absolutely. 50 million. Cough up and all you can is yours.
Yeah. But do you think he can be a disruptive influence if he really does want to go?
Yeah, but you can't just let him. You can't
let him walk out the door.
Can't let him walk out the door for nothing.
Yeah, if it was me, if we got an offer of around maybe 40 mil, I'd say, yeah, go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the way that Paris want him on another loan for a season is totally just takes the piss.
Well, unless they're going to give a 10 million loan fee, then they can go away.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know anything about this.
It doesn't make any, unless it seems like PSG are worse than us in terms of FFP. They're signing everyone on a free. They've got like loads of top players, but on a free this summer. So they're just seeing if they can push their luck, which I'm sorry, but they shouldn't be able to here.
No, it's great that Everton of old may have done it, wouldn't they, to be honest? But I think the Everton of now, not on your bike, son.
Well, it was a strange one to let him go on loan last season, in my opinion.
I don't know if it was. I think at the end of the day, he was unsettled, obviously quite unhappy. So maybe it was trying to say, well, give me a shop window, which it has done, and then sell, and then so I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it would have raised his value a bit and got him back.
I think it has raised his value, to be fair, by that. So I don't think it was necessarily a bad decision. So I think that so I don't think necessarily it was bad.
It just seems like there's a dynamic in the squad with a selection of players who either don't want to be here, are too old, or don't offer the attributes we need, and we need to offload before we can kind of bring in at the moment, which is really difficult.
It's been like this for seasons, hasn't it? We're still feeling the effects of Steve Walsh, the fucking dross, the shite that he fucking signed. So yeah, I think it's just frustrating to be blue, isn't it?
It is. On that note, we'll just move on to what comment we've had here from Ryan about back to shitty streams because not all games on TV, talking about the away game. So we'll just talk briefly a little bit about the season that's coming up and in terms of tickets and things like that.
Well, from what I've heard as well, so I've read it in the BBC News that we're still having social distancing in the changing rooms. So the changing rooms at the back of the park end are still going to be there this season.
The porter cabin.
Yeah, the porter cabin. So I don't know how that's going to work when we're at full capacity because it kind of worked. I think it worked okay. This is where I'm worried. This is where I'm worried about because nothing's been announced. I know the government are still having plans, but we've got 2 weeks away. There's no tickets gone on general sale. for any of the other fans. Us looking us has season tickets again. We're not 100% sure that we're even going. How fucking weird is that? Nothing's been said. They've kept really quiet. No one's announcing the plans, and I know. And then as well, no one knows what's going to happen about away games, because I think Liverpool has said it's going to be another year of no credits. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there's going to be limited capacity? You look at the friendly against United. Again, our away allocation was a allocation of like 1,500, and capacity stadium is 80,000. So I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what's going to happen to the aways, and that's crucial.
Yeah, it's very interesting that we really haven't had the information, and it's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
and as Ryan says, it looks like we are going to be on shitty streams for away games for most of the season, because it doesn't look like there's going to be the capacity to take many people. A few thousand might get in if we're lucky.
Well, this is it. This is it. So if you are taking a few thousand, then Everton needs. So again, I'd be gutted. But more importantly, is that you can't lose all your away credits because the capacity has been reduced. It's really unfair, because remember, the Auto Cup's you can't even do the Auto Cup this season, can you? So that again, that's strange, and I don't get that, why they've jibbed the Auto Cup off for season ticket holders. There's been no rationale behind that, and I would have liked to have seen a rationale behind why we can't do the Auto Cup, because it was just a great idea, because charge my card and I can go to the game.
Well, it's the same as a season ticket, isn't it? It's the same thing. It's just loading it automatically on like your games are for the Premier League. Yeah. It doesn't make much sense to sort of separate them, unless they think we're going to get knocked out after one game. They've got no hope for us. It looks like the Premier League themselves have no hope for COVID. They're not supporting the government, and they're pretty much saying, no, I don't care that you can, there's no social distancing. You're going to have to social distance in the dressing rooms.
Yeah. So again, as I say, I don't know how that's going to affect that some of the family enclosure. Again, believe me, this isn't gospel, so don't people anyone say it's only rumor and conjecture that they're going to have to keep away. So people in the family enclosure are going to have to move. So God only knows it's an absolute mess. And so yeah, and again, I feel that if you can't get all your season ticket holders in, then there should no way be away fans. That'd be unfair if they did that.
Hi, Andrew. I think he's just joined us.
All right, Andy Ford.
Talking for quite a while, so we won't be talking for much longer. But if anyone else has got more comments, we're welcome to discuss them. We really value your opinion, and we'd like it if you can like and subscribe if you haven't done. Mabbsy, what do you think about the idea that all the matches were available to watch last season, and this season a lot of people will not want to, there'll be a certain element of people who still don't trust going to matches and stuff like that. Yeah. Do you think there should be some sort of allowance to do something, or you
no. As I think, as we kind of touched on before, last season was a joke. I mean, I appreciate why they had to show all the games, but having 5 o'clock kickoffs, right? No, and 5 o'clock Monday afternoon, right? The Queen's Drive at 5 o'clock is a nightmare enough, right? So you have your commuters trying to get home from work. You have your fans going the game, trying to get home to watch it. As I say, not everyone's in a position where they work from home. Not everyone's in a position where they have jobs that they get off at 5 o'clock. So no, I'm very much dead against that sort of the timings are just too much. And I think too much football. But there said it. I think I think it's too much football on, and we just didn't get a break. It was a bit overheated.
I think there was not a lot else going on, wasn't there? And they kind of felt like they were just giving us football after football after football. But it's back already, so you've got to get excited.
Yeah, no, it's back. I'm made up. It's back. Don't get me wrong, but just put every single game on. It was too much. And as well, you got weird kickoffs, and I just don't think it will work with when you've got the elements of the fans. Like again, those I was just touched on Monday at 5 o'clock could not work.
No,
unless you're putting games on which is never going to happen, unless they're putting games on, let's say like 3 games Saturday at 3 o'clock, right? It's never going to happen because I have to play them concurrently in order to. But that's not going to work because the TV, the advertisers want to focus on one game.
Yeah, well, I think it undermines the fans when you start putting games at 5, 6 o'clock, because ultimately they're putting the games on at different time spans to let everyone watch every game, but you're then excluding people who are fans of that particular match. It's very often the sort of so-called worser game that gets put on at 5, 6 o'clock, and if that's your team watching, then you don't get to see it just for the sake of others who are not interested either, but we'll have it on in the background. So let's just hope that doesn't come back in the same way.
No, let's not hope.
If it does. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Mabbsy, before we wrap up?
No, I think we've covered it. I think.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and I'm sure we'll be back either before Man U to discuss, or we'll talk after the Man U and we'll be previewing the start of the season and any transfer rumours that come in. Thanks for watching. Brilliant. Thanks, Mabbsy, for joining.
Oh, not a problem. Up the fucking toffees.
Bye.